All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are breaking down one of the most fascinating characters in this whole story, Atenemis, the half-elf warlock. And really, he is a character who is completely defined by a paradox. He's the team's #1 asset, but he could also, very easily, become their biggest threat. And that quote just nails it, doesn't it? This is the central conflict of the guy. He's a hero, for sure. He can end a fight with this one single jaw-dropping display of power. But the catch? That power comes from a source that is demanding nothing less than treason. To really get Atenemis, you have to look at both sides of this very, very dangerous coin. So, just so we're all on the same page, Artemis's power isn't exactly his. Think of it more like it's on loan from a very mysterious and so far totally unnamed demon patron. And that patron is starting to call in the debt. The demands are escalating, they're going from these weird loyalty tests to straight up orders to sabotage and even murder his own friends. But okay, before we dive headfirst into all that darkness, you gotta understand why the party puts up with this. Why on earth is he so indispensable? Well, it's simple. When things go sideways, whether it's on a battlefield or at a negotiating table, Atenemis gets the job done. Period. Now, this number here, 75, it's so much more than just damage. You have to picture the scene in Sunspire. The party was at a complete standstill. This corrupted priestess, just glowing with that terrifying purple magic, was completely untouchable. And then Atenemis just lets loose. An absolutely devastating sequence of Eldritch Blasts. 75 points of damage. It wasn't just another hit, it was the final blow. It ended the entire fight, right then and there. And this really shows you that he is so much more than just a magical cannon. He's the team's closer. When a threat needs to be taken off the board for good, he's the one they turn to. But he's also the guy who stepped up and organized the evacuation of Duskmere when everyone else was just frozen. He's the strategist who turned a hostile merfolk attack into a business deal. And just look at this negotiation for the ship. While other people might be focused on the last fight, Atenemis is already thinking 3 steps ahead, securing the tools for the next one. He hammered out every little detail, the ship, the crew's pay, how they'd handle provisions. It's this incredibly practical, results-first mindset that makes him so valuable. But that same pragmatism, it has a much, much darker side. So now we have to flip that coin over. We have to talk about the pact. See, his patron probably didn't just pick him out of a hat. Atenemis has these personal vulnerabilities, little cracks in his moral armor that his patron seems to be getting very, very good at exploiting. And you can see the escalation here, right? It starts small. A gambling habit. Making bets in the middle of a life-or-death situation. Then it's a little opportunistic looting, grabbing some valuable syrup while the team is just trying to survive. It's like these little compromises are paving the road for the much bigger ones. They make the patron's truly awful commands seem like, well, just the next step down a very slippery slope. And then, right before they set off to hunt pirates, his patron drops these absolute bombshells. These aren't just vague tasks anymore. Stealing the prophetic earring from Howl? That's not just theft. It's actively sabotaging their entire mission. And that second command? To kill one of his friends? One of the people who is literally prophesied to save the world. This is the moment he goes from being an ally with a dark secret to an active, ticking threat inside the group. Now, this might just be the most unbelievable part of the whole story. Atenemis didn't hide it. He actually confessed. He went to his allies and told them, "My demon patron has ordered me to kill one of you." And what did they do? They decided his power right now was worth the risk of betrayal down the line. They made a cold, hard calculation, a bet, really, that fate and the prophecy needed his strength on their side more than they feared his blade in their back. And that bet is about to get called. So the team raids the pirate base, they capture their target, Admiral Jack Windbeard. Now they're all stuck on this tiny ship with him, and it is a total pressure cooker. The perfect environment for Atenemis' dark bargain to finally come to a head. The team figures out pretty fast that Jack Windbeard isn't just some pirate. No, he's basically a walking piece of the apocalypse, a direct line to the story's main villain, the demon Gormak. Every second he's on that ship, he has a ticking time bomb, radiating this corrupting magic and threatening to just tear the whole boat apart. Things go from bad to worse fast. Jack, supercharged by Gormak's power, keeps snapping his chains. It becomes obvious there is no way they can get him to port. He is just too dangerous. And this is where Atenemis spots his chance. A terrifying, but in a way, brilliant opportunity. He pitches the execution not as murder, but as a tactical necessity. He gets the whole party to agree. And then, with one final blow, he does it. He takes a life and fulfills his patron's command. And this line right here, this is everything. This is Atenemis creating what you could call a hierarchy of evil. He's making the case that the demon Gormok, who's working through Jack, is a much bigger threat to the world than his own secret patron. So in his mind, he's not betraying the group. He's actually protecting them by getting rid of a bigger problem. He's twisting his evil command to serve what he sees as the greater good. So it's done. Jack is dead, the ship is safe, the mission is a success. But in solving one problem, Atenemis has just set a brand new and frankly very chilling precedent for himself. And then, the aftermath. This tells you so much about his character. They collect the 10,000 gold bounty for Jack. The team gets their cut, their merfolk allies get the share they agreed on, but just look at that last line. Atenemis, ever the opportunist, skims 200 gold right off the top for himself, calls it a delivery fee. I mean, that just perfectly captures the terrifying cleverness of his solution, doesn't it? He managed to satisfy his patron, he saved his friends from a very real, immediate threat, and he walked away with a little extra cash in his pocket. He actually found a loophole that made a demon-commanded murder feel necessary, heroic, and even profitable. But we can't forget, this is not over. Not by a long shot. He managed to twist one command to his benefit, but two more are still hanging over this party like a guillotine. He still has to betray his friend Hal and steal that earring. And, more importantly, the original order is still on the table. Kill one of the real chosen ones. And that's what leaves us with this final, really chilling question. Atenemis has set a new standard for himself. He's proven, at least in his own mind, that murder can be a useful tool. So now that he's done it once and justified it, what happens next time? Is it going to be that much easier to cross that line again when the target isn't some monster, but a friend he's promised to protect?